again. Let's bring everybody here. Good morning. Okay, here we are. Got the camera on this side. Let's make sure that we have sound. There we go. My mic wouldn't come back on. Dr. Jerome is here, and we're going to hand everything over to you. All right. Well, I am here, and this has been an interesting morning, I tell you. I have been making sure that everything was working right, and it was working right until it was time to work right. Does that make sense? If it makes sense to you, I need you to help me to understand what is it that's going on with this system, and it may be that this morning was so special. It's another day of obedience for us. It's another day of intentional growth. It's another day of purposeful living. We've chosen discipline over indulgence. We've chosen purpose over passivity. We have chosen spiritual hunger over comfort. You've given God more days than you have excuses. You know, more yes than later. More here I am, Lord, than I'm not ready yet. See, every day that we stay in position, it's a seed in the ground. It's proof that we're growing on purpose, not by accident. You know, heaven is watching, and because heaven is watching and keeping note, then hell is nervous, and your next breakthrough is your next motion. So what are you gonna do? I just wanted to talk just a few minutes today about. I had 7 things, and I was trying to text them to my wife and to Kim or someone who can post it both on YouTube and Facebook. As you can see, I'm on my phone again, an old phone, because my computer decided to take a break just as it was circling to go live. But I want you to remember to like and to share. And for those of you on YouTube, I want you to like and to share and to subscribe. Even if this is a video now that you're watching that somebody has shared with you, subscribe. It's going to be worth it. But the question that I had this morning is, what's been challenging your worship? Yeah, what's been challenging your worship? And I wrote down 7 things. Yeah, 7 things to share. See, with you don't even realize that you're being challenged. Yeah, sometimes it's not the obvious distractions, but it's the quiet contenders for your affection that had taken the worship that belongs to God. Okay, here's 7 things. When results become more important than relationship. Yeah, when results become more important than relationship, it turns your worship into a ritual rather than something that's going to transform your life. Jesus said that these are the people who honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. He says they worship me in vain. Their teaching is merely human rules. It just becomes, and see, now worship is more than a song. It becomes a way of life. Worship, we worship the Lord even in our giving. We worship Him in our communication. That's our lifestyle. So when results become more important than relationship, you got some, you got a steal right there. Number two is when disappointment lingers unspoken. Uh, Praise becomes polite but powerless. When we allow the disappointments, the things that we haven't gotten over, and they continue to linger, then it's a good exercise and we burn calories, but it's not going anywhere. I pour out my soul. I pour out my complaint before the Lord, and I showed before Him my troubles. I shower Him with my troubles rather than with my praise. Invite God into your disappointment and be honest in prayer. He can really handle it. Uh, it's Authentic praise begins where real lamenting ends. The it's One of the craziest things I ever heard a a leader say some years ago. He said that he was too embarrassed and too ashamed to confess to God. And I'm like, brother, He was with you when you did it. Why would the one person that you should be okay confessing to is the one who was, he's the witness. He was right there. And beside that, He knew what you was going to do before you did it. So why not confess to Him? Okay, so maybe that's a sense of false humility, or whatever you call it. But disappointment lingers unspoken. So that's going to rob your worship. Again, then praise becomes polite, but it's powerless. Okay, so one was when results are more important than relationship. Okay, I can go back there and stay a while, but I just, your worship has got to remain authentic, and these are just mindsets. These are things that will shift our focus and our worship. When comparison creeps in, gratitude is suffocated by envy, and the altar becomes a performance stage. So we can't do it the way that they did it. We have to be authentic to who we are. Yeah, we've got to do that. I saw I saw a group of people. I'll just say it was one of the most ridiculous things that I've ever seen in my life. These are folks who, when they worship, I mean, it's authentic to who they are, but they wanted to attract more of a hip hop or a younger, the youth group. So you have these folks who don't clap on the same numbers that we clap on, but now they're trying to break dance during worship. I mean, they're wearing the suits, and somebody tried to moonwalk. He was just walking backwards, but it was just some of the most ridiculous things. I saw somebody even trying to do the robot. I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do this, you should at least be current. Try the funky chicken. No, but I mean, they actually did this. It was on television, and I said, "Is this a comedy? This cannot be real. It's got to be authentic." So what they did was, see, they were able to feel what they was doing, but they were comparing themselves to what was happening in other churches, but they have a different audience, and so now you have people who look like you, but you're acting like You're trying to perform like people who don't look like you. And they thought that they was doing something. Most ridiculous thing that I ever saw. I mean, it was entertaining, but there was no worship in it. If I was listening to the song, I was lost after that. I would have been one of the ones laughing. Like, this is a comedy. This is not worship. So okay, so when results are more important than relationship, when your disappointment lingers, this is some unrepented stuff. You got to have a talk with God. You got to fix it. You got to fix it. Invite God into your disappointment and be honest with him. When comparison creeps in, trying to be like Mike, your altar becomes a performance stage. Um, and that attitude actually even opens up more because you're dealing with envy. And James 3:16, it says that where envy and strife is, there's confusion and every evil work. So we're opening the door or giving legal access to whatever spirit has been waiting for an opportunity to come in. Number 4, when busyness replaces intimacy. You may be working for God, but you're not walking with him. Yeah, just because you're busy doesn't mean you're intimate. It's not that time that he desires uh, for with you. Larnell Harris sang a song, and I don't know if somebody else wrote it, but I heard him sing it. It was the Lord singing to him. I miss my time with you. Those moments together. He said those moments like we used to spend, but now you say you're too busy. You're not too busy doing other things. You're too busy trying to serve me, trying to please me. You're so busy trying to serve me that there's no worship. And I miss that time. That's what the Lord is saying. That's what he said to him. And I believe that's what he says to many of us every day. I miss my time with you. You know, the more I bless you, the less time I spend with you, the less time you have for me. The more you mature and you're growing into these the promises, everything, the more I release to you, the less time you have for me. When busyness replaces intimacy. These are just some things that that steal our worship. It's been challenging our worship, and we haven't even realized what's going on. Yeah, we can never afford to become performance based, results oriented, or comparing ourselves, or being so busy that we're too busy to spend time with the Lord. When emotional numbness sets in, see, our hearts go through the motions, but heaven hears the silence. That's what heaven hears because we're going through it, and I long for the day when worship is not something that we have to ask people to do when we come together. Come on, people, let's stand to your feet and let's begin to worship the Lord. Just do this. No, I love to see when a worship leader has the freedom to just worship. And to go into this place, see, a worship leader has to be a worshiper. And what happens is that the worshiper begins to worship, and that authentic worship draws people in to join in worship. When a worshiper begins to worship, other worshipers are going to join in. That's just the way it is. You begin to worship, then other worshipers are going to join in the worship. But we can't just continue to go through the motions and you wonder why there's no response. Where are the miracles that are supposed to manifest when we worship? Well, the miracles are waiting for the worship. Sees the performance, but it's not worship. It's not the authentic stuff. There's some silent killers. These are some silent, these little subtle things that we do that have been challenging the worship in us. When our morning focus, when my morning focus is on me, when it's on self, when it's on family, when it's on fun, then I can. My plan is to squeeze some time in with God around lunch. Give him about 4 or 5 minutes. Because I have to eat and I want to have a conversation. So it sounds like my worship is more about me or life as I heard them. I don't know if they're still saying life be life, and sometimes we're just doing life. And man, I'm just getting through the day. I woke up late. We had a challenge. I had a challenge some years ago. Um, I taught I taught anthropology from a biblical perspective, and in that there was a personal challenge to read. And I asked people. These were all adults. I asked them. I said, "How much do you read a day? How many chapters? How many verses can you read a day comfortably? And what's your average? 3 verses a day, one chapter." I said, "Would it be too much to read one chapter?" And they said, "I can do that in a matter of minutes." "What about 5 chapters? It's still not a challenge." I said, "What about 12 chapters? Let's do 12 chapters every day." And so they accepted the challenge to read 12 chapters beginning at Genesis. I said, "You have to read and not study. You can write down some thoughts, but don't study. Don't start flipping through pages. I need you to just read, and then write down in your Bible the time and date that you stopped. Got your 12 chapters." So I found that I had to get up early because I had to do this first thing in the morning. I started getting up 45 minutes early. Well, no, it wasn't. It was an hour early. Took me about 15 minutes to get dressed and ready for work and have something to eat or drink and read my scriptures. And then I'd leave the house. So it's not that the only thing I changed was what time I got up. So I had to get up early to read those 12 chapters. And let me tell you something, if you take that challenge, you don't want to skip a day because tomorrow you got to read 24. I messed around and skipped 4 days. Yeah, and I had to read 48 chapters just to get caught up to the day and not realizing what was happening. Everything about us, even the conversations in the class, they intensified because people are reading. They're reading and they're seeing things that they didn't see before. And 91 days later, we had read from Genesis to Revelation. 91 days. If you read 12 chapters a day, you'll be finished in 91 days. And then you can go back and do it again. Yeah. So that makes you make some adjustments. When you make that kind of a commitment to God, you make that kind of a commitment where you're putting Him first, especially the first thing in the morning. Get up earlier and you dedicate that time to Him. I love it when I hear my wife gets up in worship and just worship something soft, and then sometimes the worship is kind of moves furniture because so but that's a beautiful sound to wake up to worship and to start the day off in worship. It sets the tone for your day. Um, See, it's like making an appointment with God. Even if you only have, well, and see now, I'm getting ready to give you an excuse. Even if you had 5 minutes of focused worship and the scripture in the morning, it's going to reframe everything about your day. When you put Him first, and you take some time for worship. See, see, the atmosphere of worship is where our identity is restored and strength is renewed, and the voice of God is clearest. See, we didn't come this far to give God half. We didn't wake up to be distracted. We're here intentionally. And why not be intentional? If we're going to be intentional about our diet, let's be intentional about our worship. I don't ever want to be just noise. And it's not the noise, it's not a joyful sound. It's not even a joyful noise because folks are singing their hearts out and they're sweating and they're going through all of these motions and all, but heaven doesn't hear anything. Hmm. So my morning focus, it's pretty determined. I try to be quiet when I get up. If I get up at 4 or 3 or whatever time I'm getting up, and wash my face and brush my teeth and I wash and comb my face and brush my teeth and my hair and all of these things. Just getting ready. I got to put clothes on, lotion, everything. I got to get ready. And they said, well, why do you have to do all of that? It's a part of my preparation because I'm coming into a space that's and it's purposeful. I want to hear something from the Lord. I just spend some time. Sometimes worship is just quiet time, not to sleep, but just quiet time. You go through all of this to prepare yourself. One of the things that we were learning in, I think it was at the academy, Leadership Academy, you're preparing yourself for effective listening. You got to remove all of the stumbling blocks. Prepare yourself to learn. Have your pen and pad, or now whatever your note taking device is. Have everything in place. I'm coming in ready to learn. What's that motto again from Shule Jamamose? When you talk, you teach. When you listen, you learn. So right now we're in the space or in the place of learning. Let me go over this again real quick. When results become more important than relationship, these are these are the not so obvious distractions or things that quiet. They're quiet contenders for our affection. But when results become more important than relationship, that was number one. When disappointment lingers unspoken, remember you can go to God, take those disappointments to Him. When comparison creeps in, and we start dealing with envy, and the altar becomes a performance stage. When busyness replaces intimacy, I'm working for God, but I'm not walking with Him. When emotional numbness sets in, going through the motions, but heaven doesn't hear anything. Or when we say, that's just how I am. No, you can come to God just as you are without one plea. No, but that's just how I am. Growth gets paused, and worship stops stretching. That's just how I am, God. You know my heart. Yeah, that's why He don't. Anyway, so when we say that's just how I am, and then when our morning focus becomes about self, family, and fun, and then we make a plan or have a plan to squeeze a few minutes in for God later on during the day. Yeah, we can do better, and we better do better. Because if we don't do better, then we'll never be better. So we better do better. Now, now that these things have been spoken to you, now you're responsible for them. These are some of the things that they're not obvious distractions. The obvious distractions we can deal with, but it's the ones, you know, what's still there's still something. What's going on? God, I just don't know what's going on. Because I want to do more. I want to feel more. I want to be more. Well, there you have it. There you have it. We've been performers. We've been working, but not walking. We're not even walking in love. How do you know? Man, you still talking about the things I did, way back when, or even if it was yesterday. We're not walking in love. Love bears no record of wrongdoing. We're not walking in it, and we're still holding on to the emotions. And if you're holding on to the emotions that says, hmm, I want you to feel what I feel. Well, that's not love. What is that? That's unforgiveness. Because forgiveness says, I'm releasing you from all of that. I don't want you to feel what I felt. Why would I want anybody to go through the horrible thing that I went through? No, I don't want that. When your heart is a heart of worship, it's that heart that forgives. If I had thought about that song, Kevin LeVar, A Heart That Forgives. If somebody can find that and put it in the chat, A Heart That Forgives. Lord, give me a heart that forgives. I want a heart like yours, a heart that forgives, a heart that's full of worship. Worship is going to set the stage. That's what the doctor ordered. So this is your prescription for the day. Start your day off with worship before you come to jump into the clubhouse. Before you before you do any of that, get up earlier and spend some time with the Lord, some quiet time, some time of worship. What does that look like? What is worship? Worship is just because of who you are. I'm in awe of you. It's just because of who you are. And I get to know you. That's that intimate time when there's nobody else in the room. There's nobody else in the space. And this is even when you're surrounded by 10,000 people. There's nobody else. Thank you, dear. There's nobody else. It's just you. Watch what happens on, Wednesday. Watch what happens on Sunday when the worship leader just worships. Just worships. And if you're at Jubilee and the worship leader is just going into worship, I'm pretty sure it's the she, shouldn't have to ask anybody to stand or do anything. I long for the day when we say, okay, we got to go home now. When all we do is worship. Somebody once said to me, it wasn't meant as a compliment, but I said that's the greatest thing, an observation anybody has ever had. It was meant as a criticism, maybe even an insult, that one of the problems that we have at Jubilee is that we're too worship heavy. Even when my pastor came over, Pastor Godot, and you know, Pastor Brenda, she said, "Wow, you all really love worship here." So it's obvious. Let me tell you, when we become a place, a house of worship, you're going to begin to see miracles manifest. People are going to line up. They'll be rushing to get in because the worship is authentic. It's not a performance. It's not about results. It's an opportunity for us to come together and worship the Lord as one. Okay. All right. So, what's been challenging your worship? Well, those are some things that are not so obvious. I do thank God for each one of you. And I pray that as you press in, you're going to find that He's pressing in to you and He's lifting you higher than you've ever been before. And you're going to experience love and a peace and the presence of God like never before. Just a few minutes every day, and then throughout the day. I remember hearing a song that simply said, "Whisper a prayer in the morning, whisper a prayer at noon, whisper a prayer in the evening to keep your hearts in tune." God answers prayer, so He's responding. There's going to be a response to your worship. All right. For those of you on YouTube, I thank God for you. I want you to listen, remain faithful and filled with worship. Be worshipful. These next few days are critical. Breakthrough is right here, and you're going to find what you need in those moments of worship. And it's not that it's going to be spoken to you, but it's going to be deposited in you. We're going to continue this conversation. I know that you have to go, but we want to continue this conversation. We're going to do it over on Clubhouse. Um, if you can come to Clubhouse and join conversations with Dr. Jerome, we're going to be glad to hear you and to hear what it is that you have to say. If you have an add, a value to add to the conversation that we've enjoyed today, that I've enjoyed anyway today, because I got revelation about these little quiet thieves. They've been exposed. What's been hindering, what's been stealing, what's been weighing, and they got evicted too. But everybody's going to have an opportunity. If you want to talk, come on over. You can talk. We're going to give you 2 to 3 minutes to share everything that you have to say. Or you can sit back and just receive, listen. When you listen, you learn. You're gaining. New heights I'm gaining every day. So I'm pressing on. Oh my goodness. I thought the choir was getting ready to start singing. I'm pressing on. But we're going to see you again shortly. Blessings to you. And I'm going to end the live stream here and press pause there on my mic on Clubhouse. But we'll see you again tomorrow. Blessings and peace.